Well, hello, you guys, and welcome back to another episode of Talks with Tori, the podcast. I know I say this pretty much every single week that I am so excited for the guests that we have on, but I truly cannot tell y'all how excited I am about this specific episode because it is a little bit different and it is very exciting. I will say that the majority of this part one, because we ended up talking for literally over an hour, so we split it up into 2 weeks, was not originally supposed to even be on the podcast. This was like pre-podcast talk. And if y'all saw the title, you obviously know we end up both sharing with each other that we were both pregnant at the same time. And the conversation that followed, we were like, you know what? Let's just literally keep all of this on the podcast because it is the epitome of girl talk and it's juicy and it's just so much fun. And I know that y'all will love the conversation. But before we jump into that, I just wanted to give you guys a little encouragement. I've been in Proverbs lately, and this verse, it is in chapter 2, verses 2 through 4. They say this: tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. Cry out for insight and ask for understanding. Search them as you would for silver. Seek them like hidden treasures. And I love this. There's just something about the fact that we can ask the Lord for wisdom and understanding, and He will open our eyes. He will reveal things to us. So if you're in a season of wondering, if you're in a season of questioning, or you're walking into something that is unknown and you need the wisdom, insight, and understanding from the Lord, all you have to do is ask. All you have to do is ask Him, and He will reveal these things to you. Ask Him to open your eyes, to tune your ears, to make sure that your spirit is ready to receive from the Holy Spirit. And He will give you insight. He will give you wisdom. He'll give you understanding. And if you want to read any book in the Bible about wisdom, highly recommend Proverbs. It's just so good, packed with so much literal wisdom. And yeah, just want to encourage y'all in that. And before we jump in, I just want to say again, thank you guys for all of the reviews that you've been leaving. They have been warming my heart and also helping more people find the podcast. And then if you're over on YouTube, you're watching, if you can like and subscribe, it would mean so much to me. And if you already have, I love you. I'm so grateful that you're a part of this community, and it's fun to see what the Lord is doing. But anyways, let's jump on into this conversation with my girl, Kait.
Okay. Oh, wait. I have a question. When? Because there's some things I might be able to share, but when are you launching this? I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah.
I think in September.
Okay. Cool.
Do you want to share?
I might share on air with you because it's like fun girl talk.
Well, I'm not sure when we're gonna share, but
you are. Stop. Yes, same.
Oh my God. I literally was gonna ask you too. Like I had it.
You were.
Well, I was gonna ask you before the episode because I was like, I was gonna ask you like literally downstairs. I was like, I wonder when they're thinking about babies, because I saw one of JJ's stories of you holding a baby, and I was like, I wonder if they're trying.
Oh, totally. We were like so in it. Thanks, girl.
Oh my goodness, how far
I was like,
along
babe,
are
you're totally gonna give it away. 13 weeks today.
So you're out of the first trimester. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's like I'm starting to feel it's getting there. First trimester was rough for me. I mean, first pregnancy and like,
yep, it was
all of it was new.
for me,
Was it? Yeah, I was super sick and just, and I'm just not used to like nausea or vomiting, but especially just that feeling of nausea.
Yep.
I was like, there were some days and some weeks where it was like every day, all day. It was so hard. And then it would just be up and down and random. And yeah, but now, we did have a podcast on Monday we were recording, and I had to leave multiple times.
No, friend.
But that has not happened. That's the only time that has happened. So the last like 3 days I've been feeling a little bit better. Like a little more myself, like a little more energy.
You'll continue.
So I'm excited. I'm like,
you'll continue to feel like that because first pregnancy was way rougher than this pregnancy has been so far for me.
Really? Oh my gosh.
I was beyond sick with Micah, but also slightly, I think a little bit different because going in this time, I kind of knew what helped me the first time. And so like I immediately got the things that I knew would help me. And I also still have to take care of a child. And so there's like a part of it where I like just don't have time to focus on the fact that I'm nauseous because like I need him to not climb into a pot. You know what I mean? So like I have to just chase him around the house because now he's crawling into everything. And so it's just slightly different. And honestly, I think that maybe we just wait until we announce that we're pregnant to post this podcast because I think that this would
be so fun to share.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're going to post sometime. How far are you?
I'm only 7 weeks. So like
7 weeks.
We're brand new. I'll hit 8 weeks in like 2 days or something like that. And we haven't even gotten our first ultrasound yet. Like we just found out when we were in Colorado. And so
oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's like
did you start feeling some things? You're like
no, and that's why I was so shocked. Yes, I was just late. Like I literally brought tampons to the trip with us because I was just like waiting to start. And funny enough, we were sitting there at this beautiful women's brunch, and it's my girlfriend Christian Bervier and Lisa Bervier like talking, and it's like this beautiful mountain landscape and all the things, and Christian speaking, and I feel like I'm getting really emotional with what she's talking about. And I turned to my friend Kristen, and I literally was like, I think I just started my period, because I don't know about you, and this is definitely some girl chat, but when you're pregnant, you have a lot of and it kind of feels like you started your period. And I literally, as I'm getting the word period out of my mouth, Christian's like, and I just want to point out my friend Tori. And I'm like, period, what? And I'm like, hi. Like in the crowd. She's like, all eyes are on me. I want all eyes on you. And I'm like, for what did you just say? I'm sorry. Hello. Because I literally thought I started my period. And then I looked
like
back.
That's what you're thinking about. You're like, something's happening like right now.
Yes.
That feeling is the worst.
Yes, because I'm like in a nice dress. I'm like, oh, please, Lord, not now. You know, like this would not be good. And then I looked out to the mountains and I felt the Lord say, like, stay confident in me. Your child is coming. And it was so weird because Chad and I weren't like trying. Well, I say we weren't trying. Yeah. If you ask him, he is like, no, I was trying. Chad was like, I was fully trying. I don't know what team you're playing for, but like Chad was definitely trying. I think I was just content.
That's so funny.
You know, I'm just like, we have a 9-month-old that it's still hit or miss sleeping through the night. So I'm like, I'm chilling, right? Like if it took so long with Micah that I just assumed like, well, let's not prevent, like God's timing is the best timing. He knows what our family needs. And so I just wasn't stressed about it. And so then the next day I was like, wait, I'm like 6 days late now. You know, I'm like,
you're like, that's not necessarily normal.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's how I figured it out. I was like 5 days late being like, I thought this was my period coming, like all the symptoms, like bloated, all these things, moody, you know, whatever. And then I'm like, I was tracking everything and I was like, I am late. So that is weird.
Okay. This is a telltale sign for Chad and I when I'm about to start my period. The day before my period, we always get in a fight. Like, without fail, literally since we like were engaged, because we didn't really fight that much when we were dating, but like engagement season was a harder season. And
100%.
Right. We can talk about that too. We'll put a pin in the engagement season.
We can talk all of this. Yeah.
Yes.
But we actually fought definitely the day before I found out I was pregnant because I was so emotional. We were in Europe actually on this like in the Cotswolds, which I had like dreamed of going to. It's the countryside in England.
Oh, we were like, living vicariously through you guys and your stories when you were over there.
Oh my gosh.
100%. Yes.
And I'm like so excited for this day I had planned, and yet I was so moody and like didn't really want to be there. And then I'm frustrated at myself because I'm moody and didn't want to be there. But I'm like, but it's the Cotswolds and I wanted this for so long. So I was like, JJ like sees me wrestling with myself, and I'm like, I'm annoyed. Like it was like so weird.
It's
and I
that
got
moment
mad
when you're
at
like,
him.
I'm annoyed that I'm annoyed. I'm sad that I'm sad. I'm mad that I'm mad.
Like, don't be sad.
Yes.
Like, don't be sad, Kait. Why are you upset? And it was like funny. It's so funny now. And we got in an argument based on something so small he said that was so not a big deal.
Yes.
And I just was like, I can't believe you said that.
Yes.
And I like stormed off. I'm like, I'm just going to explore this area alone. And he's like, okay.
No, you didn't. You're like, I need some me time right now. And funny enough, it was not just you. It was you and your baby having some time.
Yes. And literally in that night at dinner, JJ's like, oh my gosh, could you even imagine if you were pregnant right now? And we were both like, ha ha ha. Like,
stop. So wait, did you find out on your own and then tell him, or were y'all together?
Yes. So he didn't know we were trying. So basically, like,
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's pause. What do you mean he didn't know y'all were trying?
No, literally he didn't know because our agreement, I was on birth control for many years for for period related stuff. And he was like, just whenever you feel ready, just get off. And then you don't have to tell me, just whenever you're ready. And so I was like, okay. So then we went and spent a weekend with his friends. I have the cutest, like, mixed baby, like Asian white or Asian, like Hispanic baby. It's so cute. He's, and the
baby fever rose.
Yeah. My baby fever just was like,
your ovaries were like, it's
and
time.
so that weekend I'm like, I'm just going to get off because I'm like, this is going to take a while. So that was beginning of May, and we get to Paris, and I was tracking my ovulation. He asked no questions. Like, he's just kind of oblivious.
Did your period stay regular when you got off birth control and everything? Because I know that that's kind of a struggle for some girls.
The first period after birth control was horrible. It was so painful. And I didn't tell JJ why because I wasn't telling him. Yeah. So I was like, nightmarish, feeling so bad. Yeah. And he was like, you've never felt this way before. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I know why, you know? And he's like, this is really bad. And then it ends and we go fly to Paris. And so literally when we get to Paris, I'm ovulating. And that's when it happened.
Wow. What a epic story though. You know, like if you're gonna conceive, Paris, right? Like
I know. That was like,
it's pretty romantic.
It's my favorite city. And truly, I was so relaxed. And I thought this would happen months later. So it's totally, God is so good because I've just had so many friends with stories. And I know your story. And I'm 30. I was 33, 34 now. Yeah. So it's just like, you never know.
You kind of had this like, well, I even feel like in our journey with this pregnancy, in my head, I'm like, well, it took over a year last time. So it's almost like you just assume like, well, it'll take a while this time, you know? But I think the reverse part of that is like, it kind of alleviates the stress because I do think the first time we started, I just thought we'd get pregnant immediately. And so it was almost like when we didn't, it was harder and harder and harder. And then I started questioning and get frustrated. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And you're like, what the heck, God, you know? And now because I'm like, oh, well, it'll take a while. Then I'm like totally
You're not even thinking
and relaxed and not really thinking about it. And that's when it happens. And I'm like,
100%. Like, I totally see, and I'm so grateful. Like, it's such a blessing. It was shocking. It was shocking to me. Yeah. And it was obviously very shocking to JJ.
How did he react? What was his reaction?
Oh my goodness. The video, Tori, which we're posting, is the most amazing because it starts hilarious for a reason I won't say. It's so funny. And then it's like the sweetest because
Aw.
call me crazy, but when we were in Paris at the end of our trip in Paris, I went to this store called Monoprix, which is like the Target in Paris, and I was just shopping around and there's a baby section and I was like,
Obviously.
I want
You
Parisian
must.
baby clothes.
As you
Okay.
should.
So I'm like, I got
Wait.
the Parisian baby clothes.
Boy or girl clothes? Was it boy or girl clothes?
Neutral. It was neutral.
Okay.
Because I was
Yep.
like, we're gonna be
Yes.
neutral here.
Yes.
Just like stripes, you know, it's like just Parisian stripey
Absolutely.
kind of jam.
Very cute.
And
You
I
rock the
also
stripes.
before Father's Day, thanks girl. Before Father's Day, and like they had a shirt that said Papa and it was striped. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this for JJ
Cute.
for when I reveal to him, whenever, in months from now, in my mind.
Yes.
And
You're
I told
prepared.
JJ I got the baby clothes. I'm like, I'm crazy. I got baby clothes. I know it's weird. He's like, okay, Kate.
No, I got
was
baby
like,
clothes like 9 months before we got pregnant. So, yes. 100%.
There you go.
We call them like faith gifts. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm buying this in
Yes.
faith that my child will wear this someday, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I had that. So a week and a half later was when I took the test. And when I took it, I was like, this is going to be negative. Like in my mind, I was like, it's my period. That's why. It's like my second period after getting off birth control. Like it's just
New
late. My body's
symptoms.
readjusting.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
you know, whatever. And of course I'm bloated. It's the period. And so then I took it and I'm like, I was
This is so exciting.
seriously in shock. By myself in the bathroom. JJ also had to use the bathroom. We were in a hotel. He knocks on the door and I'm like, I'm pooping. Like I was like so nervous. I was like, don't come in.
That is incredible.
I'm like trying, and it was the smallest hotel room ever. So like
'Cause
he's
it's Paris.
right outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, now we were in England, so
Okay.
but still like
Same,
we were
Europe.
in the countryside, and it's like
Mhm.
so small. So he's like right there. I'm trying to be so quiet and
That's
like freaking
impressive,
out, but
yeah.
like can't tell him. And then I'm googling how often do you get false positives? Like because I'm like, is
Yeah.
this a false positive? Like
No.
I don't know.
No.
And then yeah, so but I had those things like the baby clothes and the
Wow.
shirt. So I revealed it to him. We were about to go on a picnic, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna put this stuff in the picnic bag. Before we go on the picnic, I'm gonna have him look in that basket or like the bag to like see if we have everything. Like, and that's how I
perfect.
revealed to him. I know.
That
it was
is
so sweet.
So sweet. Okay, for our listeners, we will link all these videos in
Yes,
the
yes,
description
yes,
because I'm sure
yes.
everyone's gonna be like, I need to see these reactions.
Oh,
Because
It's
I cannot
the
wait
best
to see.
video. Like I couldn't have conjured up a sweeter video. Like, and it's funny. It starts hilarious. Everyone will see, but then it's like the sweetest moment because like how he reacts and out of
Yeah.
shock, but like pure, like just sweet emotion because he had no idea and he's like so
Wow.
like just tender. He's so tender. That's the word I would
Aw.
use, and it was just. It was so sweet. So, anywho.
I love that. Okay, so my question is, how do you feel like now? Because I feel like Chad and I's relationship was definitely like impacted early pregnancy the first time, differently than this
Yes.
pregnancy for sure. But how do you feel like? Because how long have y'all been married?
Well, when we're recording this, it's our anniversary right now, like
Aw,
this weekend.
cute.
So,
Okay, perfect.
so 1 year, literally
Okay.
1 year. That's it.
Amazing. No, that's amazing. Well, you waited so long, like, and I feel like
Yeah.
there's not a right time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
God has
Yeah.
the right time. That's why you got pregnant when you did. And so I love that.
Yes.
But I feel like, okay, y'all had your dating season, the engagement season, LOL, marriage for about a year. And now it's like, okay, we're preparing for a family. So we'll get back to those other
Yes.
seasons. But I just want to ask you, like,
Yeah.
how has it impacted your relationship right now?
You know, it's a really good question. We actually had a sit down conversation last night because I feel like, especially because we work together and we started our marriage working together, it's like a
Yes.
very unique dynamic that
We-
not many couples do. Like, you guys do, right? Like,
We
it is-
understand.
yeah, you guys get it, right? And so we literally, when we got married, we we actually got a therapist specifically for our working dynamic because it's
That's so smart.
unique.
Yeah.
And we knew that God called us to work together, but we're very opposite in the way that we work. And this has been my thing for many years. So I'm having to like readjust to bringing him into that because we didn't start it together. You know, it was like me, single girl Kait for all these years, and I'm bringing him into it, but it's like my baby that I'm sharing with him now. Right. And so readjusting my mindset and not treating him like my employee and but rather my partner. Yeah. And so so we've had that. But I would say in this season, looking to family, another thing we're working on is honestly just the differences in how we manage day-to-day life. Like it's so silly, these little things, but we just chores and life planning and plans in general.
Okay, so how are y'all different? Like in three, give me like 3 words for you and 3 words for him.
Okay, I'm type A completely. Planner, lists, clean freak. Okay.
Got it.
JJ is like type B to a T, Mr. Flexible and go with the flow, non-planner, very easygoing, and doesn't care about cleanliness really at all. So.
Okay. I'm probably more
opposites.
I'm probably more JJ and Chad's probably a little more you. I love lists and plans and executing, but I'm definitely not type A. I'm way more flexible, except for if my to-do list has been written down and then I don't get to it, I'm very upset by it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I am more of a mix.
You definitely are a mix because JJ does not like lists. Like if I give him a list of like, hey, can you do these things? He will do it. Yeah. But he's not going to write the list himself. Like he's not going to like sit down and write a list and prioritize
or have a planner.
Like he just is, no, like no. And you know, everything is on my calendar. So I like invite him to all the calendar invites. Like, so we have everything on the calendar. It's even like down to like date night, connection night. Like we play, I love that. Just invite him. He accepts it, you know, and so he knows it's happening, but he rarely is the one sending the calendar.
Right. Yes.
You know?
So
that it's really helpful in ways. It's very challenging and refining, but in ways it's helpful because I do need to learn to be more flexible and he needs to learn to
have a little
find
more
ways to proactivity, be more planned and structure. Yeah. So
good balance.
The things we both don't love about the other person in that category also really help us.
Right. 100%. No, Chad and I are the same way. Absolutely. Yeah. But I feel like God does that for such a good reason because it's like, if it was just me, like I would really struggle with that, you know? And I feel like without Chad, Talks with Tori would not have happened, like truly, because like he is the tech guy. He helped me set it all up. He like does all the back end stuff that like I really struggle with. And he's also like the encouragement and I'm like, I'll have an idea. And sometimes I don't have like, maybe the gumption to like see it all the way through or like put the plan in place to like get it there. And so I'm like, wow, God, you're so cool. You know what I mean? That like you'll give me the vision, but then he has like, I don't know, he has the ability to like make sure that it like actually
execute
happens.
It.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we do that in different areas of our business too. But okay, your conversation last night.
Oh yeah. So last night, you know, what's really hard and something new that I'm learning in marriage is like, there's going to be a part where you truly do have to accept the person for who they are. And like, there is a reality. This is really maybe hard to say, but it's not an offense towards JJ. It's just a reality that I have to grapple with. That I met with a coach that I see, and she's like, you know, I think in some ways you may be expecting things of him that he doesn't have the capacity to do.
Right.
And so that's creating a lot of disappointment on my end in little ways, whether it's cleaning and it's just it's little relational things. And
because you think you're going to change him.
Right. I'm like, okay.
You're like, if we talk about it enough, this part of you is going to change. Yeah.
Right. And like, there is a reality that it's like, he just hates certain areas of cleaning. And so and his standard is so much lower. Now he's not a slob, and I'm so grateful for that. Like he leaves very little mess, but my standard of cleanliness is so different than what he ever would do on his own.
Right.
And so there has to be a reality that exists, and what we're grappling with right now is like, what can we negotiate on, and what will I just have to pick up the slack on because that's my non-negotiable, not his.
Right.
And do if I really want that without any resentment towards him.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part, is that second part is like without resentment.
Yeah.
Because like it's priority for me, and I can't look at him and think, oh, he's just lazy, or
you need to take on my priority. Yeah.
Right. Like it has to be, he might have to pick up some things he doesn't love, but for the other things that he's just like, you know what, I can't mop. Like that's just not for me. Like,
that would be a me thing. I'd be like, I will work harder and I will hire someone to do that because I don't want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Even last night he was like, you know what, it could come down to like, we get like a deep cleaner once a month, and then you're like keeping it up in the meantime, but like your deep clean, because we have 2 big dogs, you know, we're gonna have the baby.
Yeah,
so there's just like
there's hair. I mean,
there's
I
like
literally we said no to dog because I can't. I'm like, I don't have what you have in terms of deep cleaning. Like I'm not a mess. Like I don't like messes. Like I don't like a bunch of things on the countertop. I don't like clothes on the floor. Like that's my like standard where I'm like, I like everything to look really great. But when it comes to like deep cleaning, not my thing. And so we're like, and we'll have a great cleaning lady once a month. Yeah. And we'll just keep up
and
until
he, like a year ago, he was like, no, we're not doing that. Like that. Why would we spend money on that? And now he's like, you know what?
Maybe we should.
I think maybe this could be a good idea, you know? And so, but I think that's something I'm learning is like how to have realistic expectations.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, getting married, everything's going to be like 50-50 team. But like that's everything that I'm thinking is important. Right. And not necessarily everything he's thinking that's important, you know? And so that's a lesson I'm learning in marriage of like, okay, like you have to be able to accept him as he is. He will continue to grow, but if you keep trying to force him to be more type A like you, he'll resent you and he might let you down, and then you grow in resentment. And so that's like somewhat a pattern we've had in little ways through these just minuscule things that build up. But I'm learning, okay, what does that look like for me to release some of those things? And if it's my priority to pick up the slack in some of those areas without resentment. So that's my current thing that we're working on, that we want to really nail down before the baby comes, like as much as we can, because that will add a whole new set of responsibilities and cleaning and stuff.
It sure does. It sure does. In the best way ever, though. I like say it jokingly, but it's like, such a blessing to change the poopy diaper. You know what I mean? And it honestly, Chad and I laugh all the time because we're like, how does a very tiny human, you know, a 9-month-old baby, when this airs, he'll be like 10 months old, create such a massive mess in our home in 30 minutes? You know what I mean? Like I will have just cleaned the night before, in the sink, and the high chair is a mess, and there's toys all over the floor, and there's cabinets open, like, and I'm just like,
what happened?
What tornado just went through our house?
Yes, I can't. Oh,
but I do.
And then they start walking. Like once Micah starts walking, that'll probably be a whole new.
I truly can't imagine.
Like, touching everything.
Yeah, well, he's already there. Like he's scaling walls. You know what I mean? Like he will walk up to the island in our kitchen and just climb up it and stand and look at me. And I'm like, how? You're 9 months old.
How did
like,
you do that?
How did you just do that? And then he's like reaching for the outlet. I'm like, that was not an outlet I thought to cover because it's literally at my hip. You know what I mean? Like how are you even reaching that child? He's a long baby. He's very tall. But anyways, it's so funny, these like different seasons. And I will say it's in terms of like pregnancy differences in Chad and I relationally, I'm even noticing the difference already because Chad is such a planner, and anything that Chad can like prepare for he's golden at, you know what I mean? And so when we started working together, just in terms of like YouTube channel, we really struggled because I'm not a planner when it comes to like content. So I'm like, oh, like I want to talk about identity today. And I like have a couple verses that I feel like the Lord put on my heart. And so like, let's sit down and press record. And he's like, but what's the actual like content, you know? And I'm like, well, I'm not sure yet. I'm going to talk about it when I press record. And he's like, what do you mean? There's no plan. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm just waiting for the Holy Spirit.
Chad and I are the same. Oh my gosh. He and I are the same. JJ's like, I have the topic. I can just talk about it. And I'm like, no, we have to have an idea, like an outline. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah, I have no outline ever. And so I think that's why I like Talks with Tori, because I'm like, there's no outline. We're just going to talk and see where the Holy Spirit leads us.
I love it.
But it did create like an interesting dynamic. And so with the second pregnancy, I can tell his level of excitement is so much greater because he like knows kind of what to plan for now. He's like, oh, like,
yes,
I know we won't sleep the first couple months. Like, I know even like there were times where like, well, I'm breastfeeding every 2 hours and I'm really not going to sleep that much. So like Chad slept in the guest room for about a month because I was like, I need you to get a really good night's sleep. Because there's no point in both of us being completely sleep deprived.
Sleepless.
Especially in the beginning when like intimacy is like not yet a thing. And I'm like, for us to all sleep together, and it's like comforting to almost like know that you see me every single time I'm awake, and it's like reassuring that you know like how tough these nights are. But at the same time, then we're both waking up tired, and it's just not worth it. Like I would
neither one of us can function at all, which does not help.
No, I'm like, I'd rather you wake up and be able to make me a coffee and bring it to bed and like help with Micah for that first little stint in the morning, so I can like go to the bathroom by myself and brush my teeth. You know what I mean? Like it's the little things that you will notice when you become a mom, where you ask really funny questions like, is it okay if I go shower? And I'm like, that's not a question I've ever asked in my life before. Like, is it okay if I can go shower? I'll be real quick, I promise, you know? And you learn to navigate it. But yeah, so I would just say like that first stint of pregnancy, the first time, I think I was almost like, babe, I want you to meet my level of excitement, you know? And I was like, we've prayed for this for so long. And I just immediately like skyrocket, like so excited. But I think that Chad was a little bit more reserved in his excitement because he was like, I don't know what to expect. And that made him just a little bit foreign. Yeah, a little foreign, a little like, I don't know what to plan for, you know? And so I can
like, I got it this time.
Yes. And so that's been, it's been really sweet and super helpful. But yeah, so I was just curious if it kind of like changed y'all's dynamic in any way. Now knowing like we're,
I'm like, okay, we got to think about where the baby's going to sleep. Are we going to move? Like all these elements. And JJ's like, I'm chilling, you know, like,
yeah.
He's just chilling still. It's great. He's like, we'll think about that. Our first doctor's appointment, I come in with he's like, because he's like, babe, like,
Dad had all the questions. Yeah.
Questions. Yeah. And it was like about the birth process and what to expect here and what to, and what.
Speaking of, how are you feeling? Like, how are you feeling? You on a bit of is feeling about the birth process, but we also literally